Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we are going to be continuing on with our terrain building. What I am doing is I'm still working on roads, and because I was going to try a different technique, I was going to show it to you guys. You've already seen in our first video, right? You've already seen a different technique where I did roads with like burnt grass and clump foliage as the what do you call it, as the like little bushes and things like that on the roads, and these roads are great. And then I have the spackle on there as well to give the roads a little bit of texture, and then I used grit sand all along the edges and down the centers to kind of give myself a place to work with. So what we're going to do now is, and that's what all these roads are, right? These are the roads that you saw me work on. And some of these are darker or lighter than others, because what did I do? I made a wash of brown and I washed them. Okay, so we're gonna try a different technique right now, and it might be faster for you. It might not be what you're looking for, but it's an alternative. It's just another way to do things. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the same pieces that we did before. I've got 5 pieces, and we're gonna do all 5 of these today. 3 of them I'm gonna make with a little bit of grass, a little bit of burnt grass probably, and snow. These are going to be partially snow covered. So it's definitely going to look winterized, right? And then these 2 are going to be a different color of flock, a more brighter green flock, more brighter than that. And so you'll be able to see the contrast of comparisons, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do some green grass. We're going to do probably some burnt with snow on these as well. Okay, and what I do need, now, I don't know if you knew this, if you didn't see the first video, if you're only watching the second video, what this is EPVC. I got a number of signs are made out of EPVC. EPVC. What it is, it's a foam board made out of PVC, and the foam inside is extruded, so it's like completely compressed tight. This is a lot more sturdy than your standard foam board, and it's a little bit thinner, and it's easy to work with. You can cut it with an X-Acto knife. And as you know, I need to bevel the edges, and I'll be right back. All right, now the next step, is we got to put the tape backing. That tape is the tensioning. We got to put that on the back. Let me go ahead and change the camera. Okay, now for tensioning, what we do is we just pull out a foot of tape. Or it doesn't have to be exactly a foot, just close to a foot. And then, because this is a 4-inch wide road piece, and these are 2-inch wide pieces of tape, I can actually put 2 pieces of tape on here. And fix any of the bubbles. That might appear. And this one's a longer than 12-inch piece of tape. That's no problem, because then I just come down and my X-Acto knife and cut off any excess that might be on the end. Alright, when you cut it, you're going to get your packing tape. You can use the brown packing tape, that's what some people use. I just happen to use the clear because I've got the heavy duty packing tape from Scotch. It's super thin as well, so when you get it on the table you don't ever notice the tape. I'm going to go ahead and tape these. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to prime this. There we go, snap that on. I got a little spray handle that goes onto a paint bottle. So now I have my spray can. I can just like that. It's super awesome. This has made life so much easier for me. It's made by Krylon. It basically snaps on. It was like $2, at Walmart. It plugs onto any spray can, basically turns it into a super easy sprayer. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to prime these guys black, okay, because just so you know, the EPVC does not want to hold any kind of, PVA glue, because this is a smooth texture. it doesn't want to hold PVA. When you put it on there, it beads up and it spreads out, and yeah, it's nasty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime all of them black, even the ones I'm going to do snow on. I'm going to prime all of them black because all that is going to be a base coat to apply the PVA and grit to. So I'll be back in just a moment after these are black. All right, it's only been about 10 minutes later. Let's go ahead and bring this in a little closer so you can see what's up. So we got our things primed. Now you can see that there's some of the white is shining through. It's no big deal. Don't sweat the little things, because remember, that's just the primer. That's a base coat. Okay, we're going to take one of our primed pieces. We're going to apply some grit. What we're going to do is we're going to apply grit along both edges and in various places down the middle. So it will look a lot like this. So you'll have the grit along the edges and then down the middle. Not the flock, just the grit. And what we do is we take some white glue, we fill up a bin about halfway, and then I add water, about 50% water. So now it's 1-to-1 ratio. You take your brush or whatever you're going to do, mix it up, make sure it's not congealed. You don't want it to look like curdled milk. You want it to look like it's actual good milk. So you stir it up until it's a white mixture, right? Completely white all the way through. And then once that happens, go ahead and brush it along the edge of your road, right? I like to make sure I hit the slope, mainly just to give it some life, give it some texture. There, and you can see the white glue is going on nice and wet along the edge. And make sure you go all the way to the edge. Now, I put it a little bit extra in the middle. That's okay. I mean, a little bit extra on the top edge as well as the side edge. And then you take your grit mixture. I use a mixture of large and small rocks and sand. And you sprinkle it over it. And you cover the PVA and water mixture, right? I don't wait. I give it like 2 seconds, and then I tilt it over and just let it fall off. And what happens is you get, and I don't care about all that, I'm going to leave it there actually, you know, you get a heavy texture along the edge. All right, so let's go ahead, that's a grit texture that is, and let's do that again. Now we got both sides of the road, right? So I'm not finished. We're going to go down the middle. You notice how I did kind of just a swath. I'm going to do a little smaller one there, and then even a smaller one here. There you go. Sprinkle your grit and rock mixture. Give it like 2 seconds to dry. 1001, 1002. And there you go. Of course, it's not dry by any stretch of the imagination. Every time I shake, a little bit comes off. So what I want to do is now just take this piece, set it off to the side, and let the Elmer's dry for a good 15 minutes. So I'm going to set that off to the side. All right, now I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to do all of them, all 5 of them, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, now I'm going into another step here, and I've already taken my roads outside because I spray outside. I don't spray inside or in any kind of ventilated area. I spray completely outside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Rust-Oleum multicolored textured spray paint on this, and what it's doing is it'll actually dry with, I don't know if you can see the texture, but this actually has a texture to it. It's like sandpaper almost, right? But you can see the brown and the yellow already. The yellow is already dry brushed in there. I won't have to do any dry brushing. So also with it being textured, it will actually enhance that flat card that you saw, because those boards that we put it on, that EPVC, is completely flat, and I did not put any plaster down. You say, Mr. Irwin, well, you can't believe you didn't put any plaster down. No need. This step handles that. Now what I did do was I applied a very thin layer of PVA in various areas and squiggled it around, and I'm allowing the PVA to dry, and that should only dry in like 2 minutes because I made it super thin it's going to be so thin it probably won't have any effect. But I'm going to go ahead and shake this up for about a minute. We're going to go outside. I'm going to go outside. You're going to stay here with this camera. And then I'm going to spray them, 100% coverage. No big deal, just, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. Now, I've got these guys sprayed down with the Rust-Oleum Multicolor. Now, they make a variety of different colors and texture strengths. When I say that, I mean how rich or how deep that texture would be. Here, let me get an example of it. This is another example of the textured spray. You can see how broad and wide these are. I wanted it to be a little bit more like sand or grit, so I went with a tighter color. But they make some extreme colors. They make grays and browns and blacks and all kinds of stuff. I thought this looked pretty good. Okay, so that's these guys. This is a sprayed piece, right? You got your, and it's on there. The sand, done. All right, now before I go on to the next step, I wanted to kind of just point out, whenever you put a snow onto a model base, a flock, you want a flock with snow, you got to make sure that the undercoat is white. If you don't make the undercoat white, when you put this snow on, it will assume the color of whatever you put it on. So I recommend you paint either brush paint or spray paint something white before you put the snow on. If you, like, let's say if I applied the snow directly to this brown, yes, there would be some white, but it would still look strongly brown, and you don't want that. Well, you might, but what I want is some strong snow-covered roads. But I don't want 100% coverage, and I don't want to waste the paint that I've already done. So what I've done was, I found a piece of pizza box, right? This pizza box is large enough that it will be able to cover both of my roads, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out stencils on this. I'm going to cut out a stencil on this cardboard so that when I go and spray white, it will only go into those stencils. Okay, so I'm going to take my road, and I plan to put my roads, I already had it kind of drawn out. Right there, that's one road. And then the second road was going to go right about there. This is just what I'm doing here is I'm just giving myself kind of a guideline of where I need to cut the stencils out. Okay? Super. Now, this is something that you might not want to do. You might not want to put any snow in the road, right? You might want to put only snow up on the banks and in the center. Well, that's not what I want to do. I want to have a little bit of snow mostly on the sides because they haven't been driven over, but I want to have a little bit of snow everywhere, really. Technically, really, that's what I want to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out, and this is going to be bigger than the road. Okay, so that went outside the edge. So if I was to have my road, it actually went over the edge. So when I spray it, that's going to ensure that the entire side gets sprayed. Okay. Now, do I need to worry about making it rounded? No, but it is good to do that. Okay, so we can pluck that out. That's going to be where one of my snowbanks is at on this road. Okay, get rid of that second piece there. Another snowbank, maybe kind of along the center line. Now, you want to do the white before you start doing any flocking of either grass or snow. Now, depending on your creativity, if you cut out a lot of snowbanks, you can actually use this. You could turn it this way, you can go this way, you could flip it over, you could go this way. So basically, you can actually, you could make this a couple of holes. You could spray, move this, spray, move this, spray. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to lay one thing down and just spray the whole thing. Okay, so let's go. Okay, let me cut out the stencil and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my stencil cut out. Now I'm going to take a couple of these roads that I'm going to spray. I'm going to go ahead and put that on a spray board that I usually spray my terrain on. And I'm going to put these down about where I said I was going to put them down. Approximately. Doesn't have to be exact. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it on there. Lay it on me. Okay, and then I'm going to go out there and spray it, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, welcome back. So now what I did was I put the template down, I sprayed it. Now I do want to point something out that you can kind of see through the video. Hopefully you can see that there is a gap between the template and the road. So I'm fully expecting, and this is perfectly fine, this is actually enhances the thing. I fully expect there to be overspray. So when I sprayed, some of the white probably went under the template, and it's going to be very light, like a light misting around. So it's not going to be sharp edges. They'll be fairly sharp, but there will be some light misting, and that's okay. Let's pull this and kind of do like a reveal and see what it looks like. Okay. Let's take this. Okay, so you got your roads, and there's some snow on there, or places I plan to put snow on the road. So now what do we need to do? Well, I just basically make a mixture of my Elmer's and water mixture. I put that on the white, and then I sprinkle the snow. But if I also want to add any grass, what I'll do is I'll put some grass down, and then I'll do the snow. And I am going to do some grass. I'm just going to do, but we're going to let this white move off to the side and dry, so I can bring up the brown ones. And we're going to, a couple of these brown ones, we're going to put some bright grass on these. So I'll be back in just a second with some blue. Grab one of our roads, and then what I'm going to do is same thing I did on the previous ones. Do about a 3 to 4 inch gluing. And then I will, sprinkle the flockage. I sprinkle it so that it gets like an even coating. Then I knock it off. And you get that. Do it again. Alright, and this is the effect of the road that you'll get with that color of grass. Alright, let me do both of these, and I'll be... Got a blue stone in there, I gotta get rid of that. Okay. Let me do both of these, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and set these off to the side and let them dry. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start working on the snow ones. So let's go ahead and switch these out. The snow ones, I am not going to use this bright green. I'm going to use the darker green. So let me go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to do the snow first, and then I'm going to do the grass second. Now, why is that? You say, Mr. Everything, why not? Why not do the grass first and then do the snow because it's on top? Well, let me tell you why. If I was to do it in reverse, let's say I did the grass first. I'm going to put the grass only in like maybe 3 or 4 spots on this road. And then I'm going to shake off the flock. Then I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to go in to do the snow. When I go to do the snow and I go to shake it off, guarantee some of that grass is going to come off with the snow. And it's going to grass is going to go in my box. Guaranteed. So then what will happen? I will have snow primarily, because that's the one I'm working with, and some grass in my snow. I don't want that. I want my snow to be pure. I don't want there to be any errant flakes of grass in my snow. Do I mind if I have a few flakes of snow in this big bucket of grass? No. Now what you could do is not worry about it and just throw everything away. I don't do that. I retain any amount that I can. So we're going to do the snow first. Now we mix our Elmer's PVA with the water, and I'm going to do one spot at a time. Okay, just because I'm don't want to overextend myself. But let me go ahead and mix up my glues with my waters. So now let's go ahead and do this large piece right here. I'm going to glue this entire thing. Everything that is white, I'm going to glue. Is my glue going to go past the white, like onto the brown? Yes, kind of like an overspray. I want it to go over past the white and onto the brown. That's a yes. So you kind of get an idea right there of how much glue and then we sprinkle our snow on like it's snowing. It's snowing! It's snowing! Make sure you get 100% coverage. Boom. Take it off. Shake it off. Now here's a perfect example. I painted this white. I did an overbrush. So you can see the snow going into the Elmer's. Now this is only the first coat. P.S. There will be 2 coats. Okay, we're going to do this long side here. Alright, so let me get all this glue on, and I'm going to sprinkle all the snow on, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, now that most of the snow is dry, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of that grass on here. That's just to add a little contrast and to make it look like there is grass, you know, that there is grass, but then there's snow in the area. So on some of the areas that aren't covered by snow but still have the grit, I'm going to add a little bit of glue. And I'm going to get fairly close to the snow, sometimes even engaging the snow with the glue. There we go. I probably should stop there because I don't want to get too far up the chain. Then I use my grass directly onto that new glue. Okay. And voila. And then what you get is, whoa. Alright, so now what you get is grass along the road like you normally do, but you also get a little bit of grass inside that snow area, which nothing wrong with that because your snow is just not a completely 100% coverage. If you feel like you don't want any grass showing, then what you need to do is go over it with a second coat of snow. I mean, you know, like what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, more snow flock on the second coat. Okay, now we could also pinch and sprinkle because you have a lot more control of where your grass goes that way. And that way you get grass more of a defined area. But again, I'm not trying to cover 100% of the rocks with grass, just a little bit of it. All right, and then you get a piece that looks a little bit like that. It's got snow drifts, it has some grass along the sides, and you can obviously tell that it is a road, or was a road. And so we're going to go ahead and set this off to the side and let this dry. Let me get onto the second one, and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is the progress so far on the snow-covered roads. What I'm going to do is let these dry just a little bit, and I'm going to go do a second coat on the snow, and then we'll be back with these in a moment. Alright guys, now for the second coat, what I've done is I'm going to dab on the glue, but I'm going to kind of stay inside the spray limits. I'm not going to go over into the overage. And I'm going to put it on fairly heavy. It's still 50-50 water Elmer's, but I am going to put it on fairly heavy. I want it to be thick, almost where you can't see through it. And I might have to make a couple of bundles worth of water because I'm using it all up on each little pattern. Okay, so you can kind of see how thick I'm putting it on now, can't you? There we go. Get the snow. Come on, stay open. Doesn't want to stay open. I guess I'm going to have to hold it with my fingers. And then we just sprinkle it on pretty much where I've got the glue. I'm trying to stay pretty close to where I've got the glue at. And not too excessive outside of where I got the glue. Because what I plan to do is let it sit like that with a mound. Okay? And then we're going to go with another area of white, and I'm going to dab it on. You'll see the effect once I shake it all off. Now you can see how heavy the mound is, right? Okay, well I'm going to let that sit. And I'm going to make more patches and hit more patches, and when I get it all covered, and I'll get ready to shake it off, and I'll come back. Alright guys, welcome back. Now I wanted to kind of just show you the different effects that we've created through these two videos, these two processes. I will have another road video, but it'll be a little while before I make it. But what it will be tarmac, basically, what do you call it? It'll be cobblestone as well as a paved roads. But right now we're working with the country roads, and so I wanted to kind of, okay. Wanted to kind of show you all the different effects. This, and this, and this was made on the first day. This, and this was made on the second day of filming. So you see the bright green, no extra work done. Basically just use the textured paint with the grit and the flock. Done. Textured paint, grit, flock. Done. Now, this one's not exactly the same. It is the grit, textured paint, but I did flock it twice. I flocked grass as well as the snow. And the snow came out pretty good, actually. And remember to undercoat the snow with white, because if you don't, it'll come out and it'll take on the color of whatever's beneath it. These here, a couple of different techniques were used. These actually have the spackle or the plaster laid out and washed, giving it kind of a multi-textured look. And so was this, but this one actually used the popsicle sticks along the sides here to give it those raised areas on the side. Some people like that effect. I'm not really a big fan of that raised sides. And then these were my intersections, my 4-way intersection and my 3-way intersection, and I just threw another road in there. These roads I've noticed, they're kind of feeling like these roads look very muddy or dirty or kind of like moist and wet. I might want to go back over and dry brush them with some kind of tan to give them a more dry look. But I don't know, it's kind of cool. This is all supposed to be for my winter campaign anyway, so mud works out just fine. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think of each of these? I'm going to kind of look at each one of these. There we go, that's a better positioning. These snow ones look kind of cool. I probably shouldn't have done a piece of snow like that went across the road completely, but I got carried away. Okay, we'll take a look at it from a different angle. You know, so this way you can kind of compare them all. All right. So, like I said, thanks for coming out and checking out these videos. There is one more road video. It might be two, but I think there's only going to be one more road video, and that's going to be on paved and cobblestone roads. All right, guys, thanks for coming out and checking this out, and I'll catch you next time.